My guests are Jakob Crothy and Wendy Vuyk from Pathways to Education. I'm so glad you came in today because this is such a great program and it's been a while since we've talked to you. So Wendy, let's start with you. Tell me about Pathways to Education.
Well, the exciting thing is this is our 15th anniversary, and so we're really grateful to be here to sort of celebrate and recognize that. Well over 15 years ago, it was discovered that too many students living in the Rideau Heights and Inner Harbor neighborhoods were not making it through high school. So at Kingston Community Health Centres, we had realized this and looked at programs that were existing in Toronto. And the Pathways to Education program was already identified as a groundbreaking program to help students graduate. So we applied for the funding, and after a very robust 2-year needs determination process, we were able to get the funding from Pathways Canada. And it came to Kingston Community Health Centres, and we launched the program, which includes academic tutoring, group mentoring, financial supports in the form of grocery cards for school lunches, and also a $500 scholarship for each year that the student is in the program to put toward post-secondary. And finally, a grad connector, somebody who can act as the coach for each student to help them navigate all the challenges that exist around high school, but also the gaps that sometimes exist between home, family, and community. So it's a true wraparound program. And as a result, we now have served well over 500 students. And when we first launched the program, only 40% of students in those neighborhoods were graduating, and now we have 74% of those students moving on.
That's amazing. And 15 years is not that long. That's amazing. And Jakob, I understand you were one of those 500.
Yes, I was.
Tell me about that.
I was in, I think, the second year of the program in Kingston. A lot of people remember me as like one of the first ones. I have to correct, no, I was in the second one. But no, it was like just a really like consistent place to go to, when you are having like just continuity and also like friends, and just very, very beneficial all around in like many different aspects. And obviously I'm still involved with it. I'm a tutor now, so it's kind of like a full circle thing for me.
Are a lot of the of your coworkers also from Pathways? Did they go through and now they're mentors? Is
Some
that
of them,
pretty common?
yeah. And even a lot of the younger people who I'm working with now, they want to come back and be volunteers themselves when they reach that stage in their life. Like they want to come back and give back to it, which I think really speaks to the power of it.
Absolutely, it does. It does. So, why weren't they, or I guess there's still what 26%? If I did my math right, 26% who still don't finish high school. What are some of the reasons that happens?
Well, there are many challenges. Presently, the fallout, I'll say, from the pandemic is a significant factor.
Oh, right.
There are many students who, for instance, say started grade 9 at the time of the pandemic who really didn't have the opportunity to establish that social relationship with a school or with friends or with peers. So that's certainly a challenge. But overall, I think what we're trying to deal with are many of the systemic challenges around not finishing high school. So for some students, it's that family life can be quite challenging. Other times it is neurodivergent, so different learning abilities and areas of interest. It's also some of the challenges of multi-generational poverty are difficult for families.
Of course, yes. And it's, I could go out and make some money. Yes, but I'm tired of never having any money, and we don't have enough, and we don't have the things other people have. I could see it. I get that. I get it. Yeah. So you mentioned financial assistance. Could you tell me a little more about that?
Well, it's one of the things about the program that that benefits the entire family. So we use it as somewhat as an incentive. So for every week that a student is in the program, they will receive a $15 grocery card. And this allows the family to help buy groceries for school lunches. And we know that $15 doesn't go a very long way these days, but every little bit helps. So for some families, it's just having access to school lunches, and we know that it's difficult to study and focus at school when you're hungry. So helping students access and families access the groceries is one thing. The other element of this, though, is for every year that the students in the program, a $500 scholarship to put toward post-secondary. So one of my favorite aspects of the program is that we have a team of staff who help students with their post-secondary or life after high school planning.
What a great idea, because it is hard to navigate. Like how,
Absolutely.
you know, I want to go to university, don't even know where to begin.
Exactly.
Right, of course.
So our staff will help coach the students through that exploration process, whether it's college, university, a skilled trade, meaningful employment, even a gap year, which we know there's evidence saying that a gap year can be a really good thing for some youth.
You know, my neighbor's kid is taking a gap year to take a few subjects he hadn't taken before, to bring up his marks and his, you know, just looks a little better so he can go into university. And it's not a bad thing. 17, I think, is a little tender to be going off to university by yourself. So
I agree.
I get it.
And that's where the support of our staff helps students make informed choices, and it helps the parents too. So we provide that coaching for life after high school. And for a student, with that scholarship that we have through Pathways to Education Canada, and an OSAP loan and a reasonable summer or part-time job, they can make it through on their own. And the nice thing about that scholarship fund is if a student is not continuing on to post-secondary, but perhaps going into a skilled trades, that $500 per year, so $2,000 by the time they graduate, can be put toward equipment, whether it's tools or safety boots or knives for a cooking program or hair cutting supplies. So it's really very flexible, but it can be the wonderful tipping point to help a student move forward.
Yeah, you're not starting with nothing. You've got
Exactly.
something, and you've got people who count on you, who are supporting you by doing this. How many of the graduates go on to education beyond Pathways after high school?
To the best of my knowledge, it's about 2/3. And
That's decent.
And depending on the student's needs and the timing. So some of our students, it's taken a few years. So they graduated and maybe tried one thing or something else or worked for a little bit and then came back. So the nice thing is they can tap into their scholarship fund for quite a long time.
Right.
So that money doesn't disappear on them.
Oh, that's great. So you've got 15 years and you're celebrating with a magazine, and that's where you come in,
That's
Jacob.
where I come in.
That's right. Tell me about the magazine.
Well, the idea for it came up when apparently they had tried to do a 10th anniversary, which would have fallen right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right, yes.
And so I was told that story that like they had a banner ready for best year ever for 2020, and obviously that didn't turn out to be the case.
Right.
And like when I was approached about it, like I really felt like those stories needed to be told, and they hadn't gotten a chance. And when I went to like look into how is Pathways stories reached like media, newspaper, whatnot, and a lot of it was focused on like the program as a whole and not on individual alumni stories. And so that's one thing we really wanted to focus on, beyond our wonderful volunteers and the various people who help support the community. It's kind of like highlighting, these are the success stories that individual students have had because of this program, and like sharing those stories in their own words in a lot of cases. And I feel like that was, obviously we wanted to have like, you could never have a representative sample in just one magazine, but kind of like give a taste as to what a few people have gone through. And
that's huge. It speaks for itself, and it says, wow, they've done this well so far, and they can even do and service even more people and do it, maybe more money coming to them and so on. That must have been quite a project for you. You've ever done this before?
It was definitely a learning experience, but I think the fact that we had like a set date, right? We know it's got to come out for the 15th anniversary, so. Right. Whatever else, we're gonna try and work within the deadlines. I mean, that's one thing that Pathways has taught me. It was like being able to be consistent and like always, because that's one of the things that it provides, is like having a regular place to attend. And I feel like being able to slowly work at something helps get to the end, even if it looks big and scary at the beginning.
And so Pathways didn't do this all on their own. You've had some really great support in the community. Can you tell me a little more about that, Wendy?
Well, it's a career highlight for me that when I think about the support that we've received. So we have many donors in the Kingston community and beyond, and we had a fantastic fundraising cabinet and a group that was chaired by Joanne Brady, who created and was able to raise $1 million endowment for the program. So we know that that will continue to support the program, and most importantly support our alumni who need ongoing supports beyond the completion of high school. And that's managed by the Community Foundation, another wonderful supporter.
Yeah.
United Way has been fantastic. And Pathways Canada, of course, the head office.
Right.
And Kingston Community Health Centres does an awful lot in kind, so there are wonderful supports. And most recently, the Rotary Club has been phenomenal.
Oh, that's
They've
great.
been wonderful supporters, wonderful volunteers. And my favorite thing about that, they do lots of great things, but many of the Rotarians come and volunteer, and it creates a lovely intergenerational element to the program.
Of course it
High
would.
school students who maybe don't have grandparents nearby, and Rotarians who get to hang out with young people and learn really cool things.
Maybe get help with their computers.
Exactly, and some AI. Yeah. So our community has just been incredibly supportive, and our local school boards have been outstanding. There are
That is
32
great.
sites of Pathways to Education
Great.
across the country, and I think we have the best relationship with school boards here.
But you could always use more help, and that's where our viewers come in. So the information is on the screen of where to donate, where to buy a magazine, where to get a magazine.
I think it's online.
It's
on the- yeah.
online. All right. Well, we'll check it out. And thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for the opportunity.